Hello, and welcome to an episode
Oh, the count-out.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about Bound for Glory 2014 taking place in Tokyo, Japan.
So essentially, we've been kind of dropping hints that we won at Chicago.
And that I really thought they were going to Chicago. They haven't been in Chicago since they first took Impact on the road back in March 2013, right after lockdown. They sold extremely well. I think they had like 6,000 people there. And it looked great on TV. It was awesome. Sadly, we missed it. But we're like, all right, Bound for Glory, they're going to make up. Because if they had Bound for Glory there again, I'm sure they wouldn't necessarily fill out the entire arena, but they'd fill out the sides they need to, and it'd look really good. But instead, today, during a press conference with the Great Muta in New York, right before the first of 3 New York tapings, they announced that Bound for Glory will take place in Tokyo, Japan on October 12th at Korakuen Hall.
Now, before we go into the idea of where it's located and all that stuff, because the hall that they chose to go into, we'll go into that later. But what do you think of the idea that they chose to go to Tokyo?
I don't get it. Well, okay.
See, I think it makes a lot of sense because they were doing it with wrestle-one.
With the Muta.
Exactly.
With the Great Muta. And I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense. You think that if they're going to go overseas and go to a place, they're probably thinking they can go to Japan because obviously the relationship with Muta, and they think that they could sell out the place and it'll give them like an international flavor, right? And it'll be something really unique. But you think that if they go to England, because England's such diehard fans of them, and they could easily fill out a whole arena, like a nice 5,000, 6,000 seat venue.
Maybe even more than that they can do.
Maybe even more if they have a big pay-per-view.
They really advertise
Yeah,
it?
they have a big pay-per-view. Because the TV station they're on, Challenge, they get high ratings on there, and if they really push it, I mean, they'll do great. People would fly all over from England, maybe even Ireland, just kind of that area to come see Bound for Glory. The thing also is that, all right, are we talking about location still?
Well, yeah. What do you thought about the location?
It's interesting because Tokyo, Japan, Japan is a really good wrestling place. Obviously wrestling is big in Japan, but the problem is that the style of wrestling is so different than America, and that have you ever seen a Japanese wrestling match?
I've seen one or two.
Well, I never really watched any, but I was looking at a couple of videos because some people brought it up. I was just looking at forums of what people thought about this, and Japanese wrestling fans are quiet during matches. They like to be respectful and quiet and only applaud when there's a good spot. They don't chant names. They don't get wild and all that. They're very peaceful. So to a typical American person who doesn't understand that, they can be watching Bound for Glory, they'd be like, wow, no one cares.
So this is really going to push up the whole TNA haters then with the Bound for bankruptcy and all that stuff. They're not going to understand that idea. I didn't know that the fans were quiet or Japanese fans.
Yeah, they are
stuff.
definitely quiet. I watched a video with Sonata actually recently. I think it was actually in the same arena, and they were quiet. There were a couple chants here and there, but very quiet.
Wow.
Also, the Japanese population that's there won't be able to understand what they're saying if they're cutting a promo or anything.
Yeah, very true. Unless they have a translator or something like that.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Well, one positive is that I do really like the poster. I think the poster looks really nice. We'll put it up on screen. It's a really nice looking poster, wouldn't you say?
Well, this is what I think.
Well, hold on. We got.
Well, it is a beautiful poster, but so what I think
it's so beautiful
is I think it's a good idea. I think it's strange. Obviously, I want to go to Chicago. With Slammiversary, they went to the same arena. It was just 2 years prior they were there. And I feel
really well.
With Bound for Glory coming to Chicago, at least when I went, it felt like it was a big crowd. It felt like they were into it. Chicago's always been a good wrestling city. And so it seemed like it makes sense to kind of come back to somewhere where you'll get fans.
Yeah.
They didn't. Another place that would have made sense if they're going outside the country would have been, as we talked about, England. But I do think that Japan is a good choice, especially since they were working with wrestle-one.
Yeah.
Sonata's their X Division champion.
Yeah.
And I think it would be cool if they kept him. I know he's only supposed to be leaving after SHX, supposedly. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's what the internet says. But it would be cool if they kept him at least to Bound for Glory to at least get to where he's from. I think that would help even more with ticket sales.
Yeah, and I do think they're going to sell out this arena because that's one of the biggest problems I have with this decision. Now, I don't know anything about. I like looking at arenas. I love all the arenas. I like looking at all the different types. I don't know why. That's just something I've always been interested in. And I was like, all right, I want to see this arena they're going into. It is a 2,000 person arena, and we looked at photos of it, and it's kind of an ugly arena.
It's not too good. It looks bland, and also you got to think when they put in the stage, it's going to take out more seats.
Yeah, it's
so
very
they got about
small.
1,500 people
It's very
there.
small. Yeah, exactly. So there's not going to be that many people. Yeah, I guarantee they'll sell it out. I have no doubt that they'll sell it out. But it's just not going to look good because it's not a very good arena.
And again, I would love for TNA to go to a bigger. If they were going to Japan, I feel like they should have gone to a bigger venue because they would have been like, we can easily sell this out then with
No, not
Muda
even selling it
supporting
out,
us, but they could get a bigger stage, you know,
Yeah.
change up the stage for Bound for Glory, which I've said numerous times, and they could really make it more of a spectacle and be like, wow, look at this, Bound for Glory,
Yeah.
you know, this is...
Well, the one thing that bothers me is that, like, even if they went into a big arena and they couldn't sell it out, I mean, what have they done in every place they went to in the U.S. and even, like, anywhere? They do half the arena or something, and it still comes off good on TV. If they had to do that in Japan, so be it. Just give us a bigger arena. Give us something to make it look more like a spectacle. This just looks like a place a house show would be held.
Exactly.
It looks like a house show arena. And it's not a very nice looking arena. It's not even like symmetrical. Like one side like goes up, which will obviously be where they put everybody else. Then the other side's the kind of smaller, like the stands, how they go up, and then the two sides are pretty much flat. It's like really weird, and I don't get it. And I wonder if there were no other good arenas, or they really like lowered their standards and like we're not gonna be able to sell anywhere.
No, I agree. I think it's a terrible looking arena. Looking at it more and more, just like I mentioned with it, seeing how weird it is. I still, like you said, bigger arena, especially since Great Muta is such a big name. They have Sonata, who's a big star, and if
Now I
he's
wouldn't
a
say
part of
Sonata's
it,
a big star yet.
no, I don't know how he is in Japan.
I don't think he's a big star, but I think that Japanese wrestling, I think it could sell better. Like I'm looking at some photos, and yeah, like it looks pretty cool when the place is filled. Like I'm not gonna say like it doesn't. Like when it looks filled, I mean, look at this picture.
Well,
right
it
here.
looks good, but look how
Yeah,
the sides and all this. It's so, like you said, so unsymmetrical.
And like, where would TNA put the stage? It's such like, okay, we're gonna put photos up of the arena. It's like it's like a little rectangle. It's so small you can't even see it.
It is the worst. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know
we
how
gotta
they're
wait
gonna-
to see. Obviously, October we're gonna see how they kind of set it all up. But I just don't understand why.
Well, here's another problem also. How is this gonna air in America? Is it gonna be on tape delay? Because I'm pretty sure it's like a 12-hour difference between Japan and like America, and maybe like 12 to 15 hours, 12 to 14, I think.
Okay.
So my question is, are they going to have it like early in the morning in Japan so it airs live at 7 p.m. here? Or are they going to have it like air like live in Japan at like 7 p.m. and then just have it air on tape delay later? Or maybe air it live but then air it on tape delay later.
Oh, that's a good idea. All right, that makes sense.
I don't know. That just seems weird.
That could hurt that too.
Well, and I know people are like, well, TNA doesn't get any buy rates anyway.
And TNA, well, but all it's gonna be worse. So people are gonna set the spoilers out.
Yeah.
People will set spoilers out, and most people will be like, oh, why don't I even bother seeing the show then? Some people will.
But then again, one good thing I will say about Japan is that it's a very interesting choice, and it does broaden the demographic, because I saw a lot of people talking. They're like, wow, now I'm really interested in TNA. Like, wow, I always thought TNA stupid, but now it seems like they're making right choices. A lot of people think that going here is a smart choice. They think that they could do really well, and they think that this is like the start of something great for TNA by making this announcement. Everyone's saying like, wow, Dixie actually made a good call. This is really exciting. And obviously people would bring up, like we said, the arena, how it's pretty small, the tape delay. But the reason TNA went there, they obviously don't sell very well in TNA. TNA has not done super well in the U.S. market, so they're trying a different market, trying to do something different for their big event. It is going to be big, though. I mean, going to Tokyo for a big wrestling event, I mean, that's cool. It's going to look cool. It's definitely going to draw some people.
You know what I gotta wonder though?
What?
I don't know. I think AJ Styles is still the NPJW champion. I don't know what it's called. The exact promotion. My bad. But if he's still champion, would AJ make a match at TNA? Would he come back for one more match? You think?
I don't know. You never know.
If he's still, because I think he's contracted with a promotion. And so if he's there once a month, if he's there for the month of October, do you think TNA would bring
This is
him in?
wrestle-one, though.
That's true, yeah. They're working with wrestle-one.
And not New Japan.
But still.
I mean, so I think overall, though, and obviously I'm biased because I am from Chicago and I wanted them to come here, but I do think that going to somewhere like Chicago would have been a better choice in the long term. I do think that it's creating really good buzz.
Or even England.
Yeah. No, I want to say something. It's creating good buzz. I think that the wrestlers will put on some great matches here. Maybe we'll see some like Japanese wrestlers, match up and all that. But then a problem I have is that maybe the fans, obviously,
because Slammiversary, they were huge. They were such a great crowd.
Yeah. No, but here's what I'm saying, and they didn't even fill out the arena, and it still looked great. But what I was gonna say was that I'm worried that TNA is gonna focus too much on it being in Japan and maybe like almost make it like a wrestle-one TNA cross promotion show opposed to just TNA Bound for Glory. They might have to rely too heavily on Japanese talent to bring in people. Because I don't know how well TNA is like, how the reception for TNA is in the Japanese market.
Well, they did have that show where they did a cross promotion show with wrestle-one, where Sonata won the title and all that stuff.
Okay,
so.
yeah, but that could have, like I said, that could have just been because it was wrestle-one.
That's true.
And they just put TNA in there. But obviously they made the decision because Muda, they want to work with Muda. They probably want to try somewhere else besides America. They want to try to make a bigger deal. They want to create buzz. They're desperate, pretty much. But I think that this is a very risky decision because it could blow up in their face.
Or it could be huge.
It could be huge. We don't know. And that's why, like, even though we're saying all this bad stuff about it, it could be one of the best decisions. We could watch it and we'd be like, wow, this was an amazing event. Everything was awesome about this. And maybe it will gain more people's interest. Like, maybe people will be like, you know what? I want to see how an American wrestling company in Japan looks like, and people order the event who normally wouldn't. I don't know. But, I do think, though, that, like I was saying, like, just putting it in a normal arena in America would have been better, because even if you have it half filled up, if you're in somewhere like the Sears Center, you get like 5,000 people in there, is that really that bad? I mean, it looks great on camera, the crowd's live, and no one really, is that really so bad? I think, you know what the thing is, though? I think some people, I understand, it's pretty bad that TNA isn't able to fill out arenas, but is it really that bad that they can't? Because, this is something I was just thinking about to myself. Like, baseball, there's, like, barely anybody in the stands anymore.
Yeah, for some, yeah.
And it's, like,
for
empty,
socks,
so...
some of them are really empty.
And if wrestling, everyone's like, oh, yeah, wrestling's going in a decline. Everybody says that. Even the people on the internet. They're like, oh, yeah, wrestling's in a decline. That's why, ratings are down and all that. Then is it as bad for TNA to not be able to fill out arenas? I mean, even WWE doesn't fill out arenas. I mean, it looks like they do, but they obviously taper stuff off.
Yeah.
So... like, is it really that bad if TNA is able to fill out, like, 2/3 of an arena? I mean, that's still good.
But I think people have known that baseball hasn't been as big as an interest, though. That's dropped interest a few years ago. Where I think people know that it's not as big. I mean, obviously, because there's so many games there's over 100 games in baseball that...
But it used to
it's
be
like
a lot
TNA,
bigger.
like you mentioned with the 3 TNA tapings in New York. There'd be like 3 baseball games in a row. Why would you want to go see 3 games in a row?
And just so people know what we're talking about, I was saying how, like, people were always, like, making fun of TNA. They're like, oh, Ring of Honor sold this place. I don't know if they did or not. They're like, sold this place out. TNA can't even sell it out for a taping. But the thing that keep in mind is that TNA is doing 3 New York tapings in a row. So chances are that person's going to be like, oh, this is cool. I'll go to one of them. Maybe 2. Like, most people wouldn't go to all 3 unless they're really diehard, because that costs quite a bit of money.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, if you go with the group, pay money to park,
If you're going with the family,
family.
You're looking at spending $400 or $500.
Maybe not that much. TNA doesn't charge that much. I'm thinking, like, tickets probably, like, let's say cheapest, like, $15-$20, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, let's say family of $480, $160, about $240, so maybe like $300.
Yeah.
But that's still quite a bit. Especially when you're in New York, which is very expensive.
Well, exactly, yeah. I think food, parking.
Yeah, so we went a little bit off on a tangent there. But basically what I'm saying is that I think if it was because they wanted to fill out an arena that TNA won here and they picked such a small venue, horrible choice, if that's the reason. I do think that had to play some part, but I don't think that's the only reason. I think also the mood, different change of atmosphere, creating buzz, all that stuff. And in that sense, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that they're really sticking with this mood relation. They're going to Japan. I really want to see how it turns out. I am interested in it. But in the end, it would have been less risky to just stay in America. But then again, TNA's in a position where they need to take a risk.
Exactly.
So maybe this is for the best.
And we talked about being that unique.
Yeah.
This is definitely something that's unique. WWE has never taken their WrestleMania outside of the United States.
Yeah. But
except for Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what some people were saying too. They're like, why didn't they go to Canada or something? Because they said, like, Canada never gets any love from WWE anymore. Because I don't think they've been to the Sky Dome in a long time. Am I right, Sky Dome?
I believe so.
Let me look this up just to make sure.
But yeah, that's so. Again, it's a risky move for TNA, but with great risk comes great reward, and it could be a huge thing for TNA, and I hope
Yeah,
it is.
it's
hope-
now it's called the Rogers Center.
I hope it is a big thing for TNA. It really helps them out because obviously we're
I'm
huge TNA
interested in it,
fans, and we
though.
really want this to go well for them.
I'm interested in it, though. I'll give it that. I'm very interested.
But tell us what you guys think down in the comments below, and we will
Yeah.
see you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Rock and roll.